Welcome back to Public Speaking Success. We're now on to our last video where I want to do a fictitious presentation that will bring some of the things we've discussed all together. In this video, look for the story with a positive hook, so the ecstasy and misery dynamic we saw in the Kurt Vonnegut video, bringing everything back to the audience. So it's not all about the presenter, putting rich visuals to good use. Also look for the elements that focus on the character of the speaker, on logic and emotion. So the context here is that I work for a company called Huon Pine Eco Farming that harvests rare Tasmanian timbers on the state's west coast. Eco Farming runs one of the world's first underwater forestry operations and harvests timbers that are at the bottom of lake beds that have been created by hydro dams. As a result, the harvesting has no negative environmental impact. Let's do a quick situational analysis. This is mainly a non-financial presentation as the finances have already been reviewed, and so this is the second pitch presentation which will be done via video conference. We want the audience to feel a connection to the state, to think that this is the best eco-friendly option for their portfolio and leave with everything they need to make a decision. The audience is comprised of investors who want an environmentally friendly component to their portfolio. All investors are Tasmanian and know the locations well. We need the investment so we can expand our business and buy some new equipment. There is one presenter, and that's me. In the video, I've put some text just to highlight what is being achieved, so you wouldn't put this in your own presentation, of course. Okay, let's get started. Thank you for your time today to learn a little bit more about investing in Huon Pine Eco Farming. At the end of today's presentation, we are sure you'll have all the information necessary to decide to invest in our company. Before we start, I posted each of you a small vial of oil. This is from the Huon Pine tree. I would like you to open it and take a moment to enjoy its amazing aroma. It was this aroma that drew me back to the west coast of Tasmania. I grew up on the west coast in Strahan, where our business Huon Pine Eco Farming is based. I left there 10 years ago to study and have been working for the last 12 years in the finance industry. I returned there 4 years ago to visit and walked into the local sawmill, smelt the smell that you are currently enjoying, and stayed. I stayed because I saw a huge opportunity to take a scarce, in-demand resource that would have otherwise gone to waste and sell this resource to the world. Today, I wanted to talk about the history of logging, why this timber is unique, and the versatility of timbers. Some of you may not know the history of timber in Tasmania, so I thought I would share some facts. The early explorers of Australia in the late 1700s described the landscape as the most beautiful estate on earth. For over 80,000 years it has been cared for by the Australian Aborigines. But that started to change for Tasmania when expeditioners found natural resources such as Huon pine and blackwood growing along the banks of Macquarie Harbour and the Pieman River in the west coast of Tasmania. This was just 12 years after settlement. The convicts at Macquarie Harbour, or Hell's Gates as it was more affectionately known, worked in chains in miserable conditions and provided Huon pine logs for shipbuilding on Sarah Island in Macquarie Harbour and in Hobart, and for shipments to Britain and other colonies. This was followed by the exploited Tasmanian forests disappearing at an alarming rate, with very few signs of regeneration. A conservator of forests was introduced in 1885, but it wasn't until 20 years later management and use legislation was introduced. The Pieman River was dammed 101 years later in 1986, and there was a huge rush to harvest the trees. Unfortunately, time and tide wait for no man, and as the water flowed and filled up Lake Pieman, the remaining forests were covered with water and lost for good. But not quite. By purchasing and developing some specialised equipment, we've been able to harvest these unique and magnificent trees and make them available to the global market. so they get to live in buildings all around the world once again. It is estimated that this type of unique salvageable timber will last more than 2 generations. So for potential investors, the supply is assured. But why make this effort? What makes the trees unique? What makes Huon pine unique is that it only grows in the wet, temperate rainforests of southwest Tasmania and is the only member of its species. Growing extremely slowly, averaging just 1 millimetre in girth per year, they can grow to be 2,500 years old and don't start to reproduce until 600 to 800 years of age. The timber has a very high oil content, which makes it impervious to insects, makes it waterproof and gives it characteristic sappy perfume, which you smelt earlier. According to Sarah Davidson from Australian Woodwork, the retrieval of stumps left over from old logging led to the discovery of tons of ancient buried Huon pine logs, some dated 38,000 years old and still intact, despite being buried in the damp earth all that time. Globally, salvageable timber is estimated to be worth $50 billion, so investing in this market is a viable alternative to other forms of investment. So, what can it be used for? What's the demand? It's used for boat building, furniture, joinery and cabinet making, musical instruments, jewellery, wood turning. The prices are $26,000 per cubic metre and supply cannot keep up with demand. Currently, according to the University of Tasmania, the demand for Huon pine is 10,000 cubic metres annually. So that's $260 million per year. A good-sized business by any stretch. So, in summary, we believe the needs of any investor are exceeded given that the supply is assured. It is unique and can't be replaced, and demand is assured as prices continue to climb. In conclusion then, I hope that together with our financial analysis provided previously, you can see how investing in Huon pine ecoforests will give you the returns that you require, while satisfying the sustainability requirements of your portfolio and give you all the information required to make a favourable decision. Thank you for your time. We would be happy to answer any questions. Okay. That's the last of our public speaking success videos. I hope you enjoyed the program and I look forward to your comments. Be on the lookout for our next program where we will discuss some more advanced public speaking and presentation skills techniques. Come over to our YouTube channel for more tips and ideas, and as always, good luck with your next prezzo.